I learned all of this the real way. I'm not going to call it the hard way, the real way, because I believe that it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. When you do not heal your money story, you will fall into one of three invisible traps. And each one of them, it robs you of your peace, of your prosperity, and the purpose that you are meant to lead with. Did you know that only 1.9% of women entrepreneurs, 0.9% of Black business owners, and just 0.5% of Black women entrepreneurs ever cross the seven-figure mark? That changes right here. If you are ready for high-level, high-income conversations about all things millions, your mission, your mindset, your methodologies, your mandate, your movement, your messaging, your marketing, your metrics, and of course, your money, just by listening, your income is going all the way up. Every week, you'll hear powerful stories, transformational interviews, and million-dollar business growth insights to help you scale and sustain a seven-figure business with grace and ease, not hustle and grind. I am your host, Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, award-winning spiritual business growth strategist, eight-figure entrepreneur, and God girl on a mission to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. This is the Move to Millions podcast. Welcome home. Before we dive into this week's episode, let me ask you something real quick. If this podcast has ever made you think deeper, shift something in your spirit, or take bold, bankable action in your business, would you do me a favor? Would you take a moment and scroll down and leave us a rating or review? Listen, that's how we grow this message and get it into the ears of more seven-figure CEOs and seven-figure CEOs in the making. Your words matter. Your support matters. So please take a moment to go ahead, rate, review, and then come right back because this episode is about to shift everything. Welcome back to the Move to Millions podcast. I am your host, Dr. Darnyelle, God girl, eight-figure entrepreneur, and the award-winning CEO of Incredible One Enterprises. We are a business transformation company where we blend soul and strategy to help six- and seven-figure CEOs build legacy-leaving seven-figure plus companies. And today we are closing out the For the Love of Money series with a word that could change everything for you. I hope you have enjoyed this series as much as I have. And we're going to get in this episode into the cost of not healing your money story. I'm a sidebar right there real quick. I'm about to go on a sidebar, y'all. Listen, I hear so often that people don't think it has anything to do with the money. Let me be the first to tell you in case you happen to be people. It is about the money. Now, I'm not saying money is everything, but I am saying that money is in everything. And the way that you respond and react and relate to money impacts everything. I just need to say that. I needed to do that quick sidebar because the truth is, it's not your strategy that stalled. Like, if we're being honest, it's not that your marketing is off. It's the unhealed beliefs, the ancestral patterns, and the unresolved financial trauma that you are experiencing that is quietly running your business, and you may not even be privy to it, and it is delaying your destiny. Hello again, friends. I am excited to be with you. This series has been so amazing for me, and I hope you have gotten so much power from it as well. Here's what we know. You cannot build a seven-figure business when you have a bankrupt belief system. So we're going to talk about why this is the shift that matters the most and what happens when you don't make it. And this is on the precipice of my brand new workshop, The Seven-Figure Shift. You need to be there. Period, point blank, full stop. You should be there because every single day you are forced with decisions that you have to make with money, about money, around money, because of money. And until you understand the most important shift that must be made, it's going to be a problem. Because here's the truth. Unhealed money stories don't dissolve with income. They just disguise themselves in your business. And they sabotage your next level of success from the inside out. That is what happens And I will share all about it inside of this little mini episode. Okay. Here's how they show up. Or let me say it this way. This is the way that I have seen them show up for me, for my clients, and for my business besties. Procrastination on launching offers. Not because the offer isn't ready, but because your nervous system isn't ready to be seen or receive at that level. I could stop and tell a story right there. I'm going to keep us moving. The second reason is chronic fear of raising your prices, not because your work lacks value, but because your inner child still believes that no one will pay you for just being you. Or the third reason, over-delivering and undercharging, because somewhere along the way, you learned that your worth had to be proven or earned through exhaustion. I was going to say effort, but not even effort, exhaustion. Or the next reason, attracting and hiring team members who actually drain you, because you are still tolerating dysfunction because that feels familiar, even though it's costing you your peace and your profitability. Oh, I probably should have told you that in this fourth and final episode in the series, I'm coming for your edges. The next reason is inconsistent revenue despite consistent effort, because your subconscious keeps resetting the thermostat anytime overflow tries to become your new normal. Every one of these is a smoke signal. It's not a strategy problem. It's a safety problem. And until you understand the significance and the severity of why you need to heal the root, you will keep rebuilding the same ceiling over and over and over and one more time after that. So let me tell you about a colleague of mine. Absolutely brilliant. She's the kind of business owner who clients absolutely rave about her all day long and twice on Sunday. One day we were catching up and she shared her biggest frustration. Her calendar was full, but her bank account did not reflect it, right? She'd created a high value offer, gotten amazing results for her clients, and yet she still could not bring herself to raise her prices to the level that was commensurate with the service she was providing. She kept saying things like, I just don't want to scare people off, or I want to stay accessible. And here's the thing, as we peeled back the layers, it wasn't about accessibility at all. It was about a 7-year-old version of herself who watched her single mother struggle to make ends meet. Trust me, I get it. She remembered the grocery store lines, the turned off lights, and the belief that money was hard to come by. So even though she had the strategy, she had the branding, she had the receipts, as we say, her unhealed money story was in the driver's seat. She didn't feel safe to charge more because success at that level did not match the narrative that she had grown up with. Now, here's the exciting thing. Once she rewrote the narrative, she doubled her rates, and clients, they didn't run. They actually began to lean in. She stopped operating from guilt and started to lead from alignment. Because again, it isn't about the strategy. It is about the safety. Capital One did a survey in 2022, and it showed that 67% of small business owners cite financial anxiety as their number one internal barrier to scaling. And Psychology Today reports that unresolved money trauma often leads to subconscious financial self-sabotage patterns, which include underpricing, avoidance of money altogether, and good old-fashioned burnout. These statistics are not made up, y'all. Like, this is literally what is happening in the world because it is about the money. So stop saying it's not about the money, because it is. And start to get to the point where it's for the love of money, where you understand the significance. Because let me tell you the truth about a time in my own business. I'm going to talk specifically about the time between my first 7-figure year and then getting back to 7 figures 3 years later. I think it was roughly 3 years. From the outside looking in, I still look successful. The fact is, no one knew that I wasn't still at 7 figures. I obviously wasn't broadcasting that I had taken a step back inside of my business. Maybe I should have, but I wasn't. My brand was still polished. I was still on lots of stages. My programs were running. My clients were getting results. But what no one knew was that I was quietly unraveling on the inside. Not because I didn't have the strategy. No, your girl got strategy on lock. I had the strategy. I wrote the strategy. Not because I didn't have support. I had a team. But because my money identity still had not actually caught up to the level I have reached in my business. If you've been doing all the right things but still feel like you're carrying more weight than you should, it's not your strategy, it's your pattern. There's a hidden way that you lead that's shaping your money, your success, and your peace. And until you see it, you'll keep working harder than you have to. The Ascension Archetypes quiz shows you in just 3 minutes what's been driving your business behind the scenes and what needs to shift so that you can finally experience the overflow you're desiring. It's fast, it's free, and it will give you the language for why things feel harder than they should right now. Go now to movetomillionsquiz.com to find out which archetype is running your business today. Hey, I hate to interrupt the goodness that's happening right now in this episode, but I need you to do me a quick favor. If this episode is blessing your life and business right now, will you take a few moments and rate and review the show? Your words help more millions-minded entrepreneurs find us and step into their next level. All right, thank you so much. Let's get back into the conversation because we're just getting started. Just because I got there didn't mean I had capacity to stay there, which is part of the reason it began to dissipate. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was subtly sabotaging myself. I was not launching more. I was afraid of more money, if I'm being honest. I was avoiding hard conversations with team members that were not producing at a level that was commensurate with what they were earning. I was not hiring the support that I truly needed to grow to my next level. I was bringing on more doers when I should have been bringing on leaders. I was overgiving. I mean, like you could enroll in one of my programs and get access to everything. It would be pennies on the dollar. And I was convincing myself that things would even out, but they didn't. Because here's what I need you to know and understand. Your business will always expose what you have not healed. And I'm sharing my truth with you so that you know I didn't wake up like this. I don't do theory. Every word that comes out of my mouth came into my life from an experience that I lived through. A decision that I made, a good one, a bad one, an ugly one. Listen, when I tell you I'm a real one, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, trust and believe your girl, been here, done that, got the t-shirt. And here's what happened. Eventually, those subtle signs turned into real chaos in my business. Team breakdowns, sleepless nights when I couldn't figure out what happened or what I was going to do. And what happened was really simple. As I look back, it didn't feel simple at the time. I had a 7-figure business, but I was still showing up like the 6-figure version of myself. Can I get a witness up in here? And since I'm being honest and putting all my business in the street, until I faced my money and leadership identity, how I saw myself, how I received, what I believed I deserved, I honestly could not sustain the success. It felt heavy. It felt pushing a boulder up the hill heavy. So here's what I want you to know and understand. I truly believe that when God gives you something, it doesn't need batteries. So because I needed batteries for the money to work, I felt like God didn't give it to me. And that season taught me something really powerful. The real upgrade isn't the income, it's the identity. I just want to let that breathe for a second. Because here's what I want you to know and understand. Your business cannot grow past the part of you that does not feel safe with success. Y'all, I didn't know any of this the first time I crossed 7 figures. It was literally like an oops. You've probably heard the story if you've been here for a while. I had a coach at the time. I'm actually going to sidebar. I wasn't planning for this, but let me do a little quick sidebar. I had a coach at the time who, just for kicks and giggles, I acted as if my prices were her prices. You should not do this at home. But this is what I did. I acted like my prices were her prices. And when I did, I realized that my business, which at the time was doing about $500,000 a year, would have easily done $1.3 or $4 million. And that was if I only had her prices. Now, here's what I knew to be true about myself at that time. I was brilliant. in her program, all of the people wanted to be my accountability partner because of the gems that I would drop at a dime just because I could. So I raised all of my prices to her prices. There was no rhyme or reason. There was no strategy. That is literally what I did. We were weeks away from our live event. I changed all the prices to reflect what they would be if I had been her. Comparison is a nasty game. I don't play it anymore. But at that time, in 2014, I did. Raised all the prices, sent the order form to the printer, went to bed that night, had a terrible dream that no one signed up for the program. I literally panicked, y'all. My body did not feel safe, even at the thought of tripling my prices. Okay? I hope you don't mind my realness in this moment because I'm keeping it all the way real. So in a panic, I get up. Before my team comes in, I change all the prices on the order form and send the order form back to the printer. My team has no clue. Because, I was on my pedestal. We going to do this. We going to raise our rates. We going to get our just due. We going to have all the things. And my team was with it. And I was not about to let them know that I had a panic attack and I didn't feel safe with the money. Now, I would not have been able to use those words in 2014. But as I've been evolving and doing this work and spending more time on looking at the science, the spiritual, and the somatic, I now can put those words in place. And as a result of that, I wanted to change the prices because it freaked me out. But here's the thing. This is God, y'all. Sent the order form to the printer. I wasn't even in my seat a good 2 minutes before the phone rang. And the printer told me that he could not print the form because it was corrupt. Now, what I was not going to do was ask my team to correct an error based on my fear and the panic that had set in my body. So I sucked it up and we kept the original order forms and we held the live event. With the original order forms, with my rates that had been tripled, we brought on 3 times the clients we had ever brought on at one particular point in time in the business. Okay? So when I tell you your girl doesn't do theory, I learned all of this the real way. I'm not going to call it the hard way, the real way, because I believe that it didn't happen to me. It happened for me. When you do not heal your money story, you will fall into one of 3 invisible traps. And each one of them, it robs you of your peace, of your prosperity, and the purpose that you are meant to lead with. Okay, so let me break them down for you. This is so good. So you want to get your pen and paper out if you haven't had your pen and paper out. If you're listening to this in the car, you're going to want to come back and listen to it again because this part is really, really good. All right, the first one is what I call the stall. You hit a revenue ceiling that you can't break through no matter how much strategy you throw at it, no matter how much you effort, you cannot break through. Now, on the surface, it looks like stuckness. It looks like stagnation, right? You're launching, but people aren't buying, right? That's business. That happens, right? You're creating content, but it's not converting. These things happen every single day. You're pushing, but nothing is actually being moved out of the way. That's what it looks like on the surface. But underneath, what is really happening is that your nervous system, again, words I'm using today, I would not have used it then. Your nervous system is wired to associate that expansion with danger. Your prefrontal cortex might say, let's grow, but your amygdala screams, that's not safe. No, we can't do that. Ah! And so your subconscious slams the brakes every single time you try to go bigger. This, my friends, is the stall. Some of the symptoms that accompany the stall include launch fatigue, right? You did a launch, it didn't go well. You know you need to launch again. You tired, you don't. Or you half-ass your launch. Content burnout. What I call my audience ghosted me syndrome. When you are reaching out to people, you've even had conversations with people and all of a sudden they're not responsive anymore. When you're seeing inconsistent enrollment despite all the things, all the effort, all of the follow-up sequences, everything. The root cause is survival mode programming. You've normalized the plateau because it feels safer than the unknown of overflow. That is the stall. I want you to check in. Are you feeling the stall? Now let's move on to number 2, which is the strive. You are achieving, but boy, is it hollow. Oh my gosh, your calendar is so full. You are booked and busy. Your inbox is flooded. Your revenue, it is increasing. But your peace, it is nowhere to be found. It has left the building. To the left, everything you own is in a box to the left when we're talking about your peace. You're doing everything right, but it does not feel good. It doesn't feel good in your body. It doesn't feel good as you look at your calendar. You are not excited in a time that you should be excited. Now, because you've internalized a belief that rest equals laziness and that struggle equals virtue, so even as the money comes, you keep overworking to prove that you are worthy and deserve it. This is the striving. You think that you're building legacy. You honestly do. Bless your little heart. But what you're actually building is resentment, and eventually it's going to turn into burnout. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it myself. Here are some of the symptoms. Over-delivering on every client contract, every single one, and not being paid for it, like you're going to get a prize, right? Rebuilding your business quarterly out of panic, undercharging to avoid judgment or rejection, feeling guilty when you do finally take the time to rest. The root cause is that you have a hustle-wired identity. Deep down, you still believe that you have to effort to earn your abundance. You have to work hard for money. I can hear your ancestors saying that, whomever that was. That is the striving. And the third is the sabotage. This is the one that is the most subtle. And it is also the most dangerous, if we're being honest. You grow. You are doing the thing. You are thriving. You hit a new income threshold and level. You are popping your collar. You cannot believe it. All is well. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, you start unconsciously dismantling what you have built. You start questioning. You start replacing. You start changing. Maybe you hired the wrong team. Maybe you stopped showing up. Maybe you burned the whole thing down and call it a pivot. So many times have we done that, right? But the truth of the matter is this: your capacity to receive and hold what it is that you have built has not caught up yet. I've been there and done that, got the whole t-shirt. Did I not just tell you what happened, how I went to 7 figures and then went back and then got back to 7 figures? So what happens is your nervous system tries to relieve the internal pressure by creating chaos, because chaos is what's normal for you. It's your baseline. Symptoms include firing good team members impulsively, constantly rebranding or relaunching. Oh my gosh, that one burns my biscuits every time I see somebody rebranding. That's a whole nother episode for a whole nother day. Ghosting your business or your audience, or questioning your worth at every new level. Here's the root cause of all of that: unhealed worthiness. It's a wound that is so deep. Your body believes that abundance is not safe, so it finds a way, it makes a way to release any and all signs or forms of abundance. It's like driving your car with your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. That's what happens with the sabotage. So now I want you to just reflect for a moment. Which of these traps have you fallen into before? And are you willing to admit that it wasn't a strategy thing, it was a safety thing that needed to be addressed? If you are really being honest with yourself, just let that breathe for a moment and take a deep breath in if you need to. If you're feeling some resistance, stall, strive, sabotage. These are not personality flaws. They are survival patterns. Okay? Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yes, there is a reason your strategy feels stalled. And I bet you didn't realize it's spiritual. Discover your divine wiring, which informs how you lead, where you sabotage, and how to shift in order to scale with the Move to Millions Ascension Archetype Quiz. In less than 3 minutes, you'll learn what's really blocking your money, your momentum, and your mission. Take the quiz today at movetomillionsquiz.com. My best-selling book, Move to Millions, The Proven Framework to Become a $1 Million CEO with Grace and Ease Instead of Hustle and Grind, is now available on Audible. That's right. You can listen to nugget after nugget, strategy after strategy, and chapter after chapter designed to help you to position your business for 7 figures with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind.
Go to Audible today to get your Audible copy of Move to Millions.
And I'm going to tell you about one of the t-shirts right now. Okay. So let me tell you the truth. Just because you've made millions does not mean that the pattern disappears. That's what I want you to know and understand. I remember a moment a few years after I had already built this 7-figure company, which is now an 8-figure company. But before I had done that, we were coming off of one of our record-breaking quarters. I mean, listen, money was flowing like a river. The team was growing and the team was actually performing. Everyone was on board. Everybody was loving the vision and the direction. Everything looked like overflow. But one night, your girl, me, I found myself lying awake at 2:00 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, panicked, thinking, what if it all dries up? What if I can't keep this pace? I'm paying all these people all this money. What if something happens? What if this success is a fluke? Have you been there? Have you said this yourself? I realized that I was still holding on to a strive pattern. That old wiring that says, if I'm not doing, I don't deserve the having. Have you experienced this? Now, even though I had all the systems, even though I had a great team that wanted to show up for me and help us to produce results, even though I had the receipts and the results and our clients were thriving, my nervous system still felt something different. It hadn't caught up with all that success that my business has created, and it was not feeling warm and fuzzy. There was no sunshine. There were no rainbows. There were no peanut butter cups and rabbits. And it was bleeding into everything, y'all. I was micromanaging. I was second guessing my pricing. I was complicating things that were already working. You would not know this. But for those of you who listen to the show, now you know. And I'm telling you this because I want you to know I did not wake up like this. And then I had to own that it wasn't a strategy. I was in survival mode. I had to pause. I had to go back and do my inner work. I had to remind my body that it is safe to be sustained. It is safe for me to have more money than I can give, spend, invest, and save. And not just saying it consciously, but feeling that thing through every orifice of my body. I had to tell myself that I don't have to strive to be significant or feel significant, and that I can rest, and even while I'm resting, I can earn. That's what it means to build a business from identity and not insecurity. It took your girl work, so I know it's going to take you work. It's why I'm holding the 7-figure shift workshop. It's why I created Sanctuary, because we need this safe space. Because let me just tell you, let me lean in. Healing is the shift that you most need. The move to millions is not about more effort. It's about deeper healing. And this is the part no one told you when you started a business. No one told you how important it would be for you to have a therapist as a business owner, right? When you start to heal your money story, you stop undercharging and start unapologetically leading. You stop hoarding or overspending, and you actually start circulating wealth. You know money needs to move, right? And the most important way for you to make millions is to keep money moving, to invest and be investable. You'll stop performing and you'll start partnering with God, with your business, and with your highest self. This is the change that I want you to most make. And that is why the 7-figure shift workshop was created. Because before we can scale your strategy, we have got to stabilize your nervous system. We have got to get you to understand the significance of how it feels in your body. Before we can tweak your offer, we have to rewrite your money operating system. Period. Point blank. Full stop. And that is what we're going to get into inside of the 7-figure shift, which is going to lead us to my powerful brand new program. Everybody's going to want to join, Sanctuary. I will be the first to tell you, you do not need a new funnel. You need a new foundation. That could be a t-shirt too. I'm good for a good t-shirt, right? Here's what I've learned. Let me say it this way. Here's what I've learned. 18 years in business, through every market. I've been there, done that, seen it all. The most important shift is the one that very few people are telling you. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to stop circling 6 figures in a 7-figure body? Are you ready to break the patterns so you can actually build the legacy? And are you ready to finally trust that God is not punishing you with overflow? He's actually inviting you into stewardship. Overflow will feel like punishment in a body that doesn't feel safe with overflow, just for the record and to make sure we're on the same page. I want to invite you to release the guilt of all the generational traumas that you've experienced with finance. I want to invite you to renounce the fear of success. And I want to invite you to break the patterns of lack that are currently living in your life. These are subconscious patterns. You may not notice it consciously. And I want to invite you to embody the overflow that you were born for, to feel safe with more and to feel aligned with wealth. That is the 7-figure shift. That is how you get to being a sanctuary for yourself. The 7-figure shift workshop is coming up. It begins on December the 2nd. And let me be very clear, this is brand spanking new content. This series is a precursor to what I'm going to teach because it's not going to be a replay of old strategies. It's going to be a prophetic interruption of your stall, your strive, and your sabotage. And it is your invitation to join me inside of Sanctuary. The link to register for the 7-figure shift is in the show notes. I want you to go there and reserve your seat and come see what happens when your nervous system actually meets your next level. It's powerful. It's a game changer. It's going to change everything for you. Legacy is calling, y'all. And not just what you build, but how you receive. You are worthy. You deserve it. Let's shift it. Let's heal it. Let's walk into overflow and let's do it together. That's what I'm inviting you to do. I will see you inside of the 7-figure shift. Thank you so much for indulging me through this For the Love of Money series. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to the Move to Millions podcast. Every legacy-led CEO has a divine design, and yours is waiting to be revealed. Take the Ascension Archetype quiz at movetomillionsquiz.com to uncover how you're wired for wealth and what needs to shift to make your next move with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind. And if this episode blessed you, do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And always remember, millions are your birthright, and to access them, you need only move.